Hey parents, have you ever noticed that when you're stressed out, your parenting style suddenly just shifts? Maybe you become way too strict, or maybe you go the other way and become super soft, or you find yourself desperately trying to keep everyone happy, no matter what. What a lot of us don't realize is this: our own personality, our own way of coping with stress, is quietly shaping our child's behavior every single day. This isn't because you're doing something wrong on purpose. It's because when we're under pressure, we all fall back on our default settings. Today, I want to talk about 4 common parenting patterns that show up when we're stressed, how they play out in our daily lives, and the impact they have on our kids often without us even noticing. And just to be clear, this is not about blame. It's about building awareness so we can be the parents we truly want to be. Let's start with the first pattern: avoiding stress at all costs. Some of us value peace and comfort above everything else. We hate conflict. We can't stand tension. We just want things to feel calm and easy. So, at bedtime, instead of sticking to a routine, we might just wait until the kids fell asleep on the couch. Instead of dealing with the messy room or a sibling argument, we let it slide. Why? Because facing it head-on just feels completely exhausting. The thing is, children in these homes learn a quiet but powerful lesson. If I push back long enough, the rules will just disappear. Over time, these kids might struggle with limits, with handling frustration, or with taking on responsibility. It is not because their parents didn't care at us, because the desire for immediate comfort replaced the need for structure. The solution here isn't to suddenly become a drill sergeant. It's about gently adding in a few key things: predictable routines, clear expectations, and a sense of shared responsibility. Kids actually feel safer and more secure when they know the adults are leading the way, not when they're accidentally left in charge of keeping things peaceful. Now for the second pattern: needing control to feel safe. For other parents, life feels best when it's organized, orderly, and predictable. Schedules are important. Rules are important. Everything has its place. So when kids start to resist or push back, the instinct is to tighten control. We might hear ourselves saying things like, "Do it now, because I said so," or "Don't you talk back to me." How do kids respond? Well, some will rebel and fight back even harder. Others become people pleasers. They're obedient on the outside, but they're anxious and worried on the inside. Using control might stop a behavior in the moment, but it often prevents children from learning the essential skill of self-control. The shift here isn't about losing your authority as a parent. It's about sharing responsibility. It means involving your children in problem solving. It means offering them choices within firm, clear limits. And it means giving them space to practice making their own decisions. When you combine structure with respect, you build genuine cooperation. And that's far more powerful than control alone. Let's move on to the third pattern: trying to please everyone. Some of us just really want our children to be happy. We can't stand to see them disappointed. We hate seeing tears. And we find it incredibly hard to say no. So bedtime turns into an endless cycle of hugs, requests for water, and just one more story. The rules seem to change depending on everyone's mood, and boundaries disappear just to keep the peace. Children in this environment might learn a couple of things. One is, my happiness comes first, no matter what, or, even more concerning, they might feel, I am responsible for my parents' feelings. Over time, this can lead to a sense of entitlement, or it can create a deep-seated feeling of guilt. Healthy parenting in this context means remembering something crucial: our children don't need constant happiness. They need guidance. You can be kind and empathetic without giving in to every demand. You can be loving without rescuing them from every small struggle. And you can be supportive without sacrificing your own needs and well-being. And that brings us to our fourth pattern: pushing for excellence. Some parents are really driven by a sense of meaning and achievement. They want their children to succeed, to do their best, and to stand out from the crowd. But constant correction and relentlessly high expectations can backfire. Some children might just give up, thinking, "I'll never be good enough, so why bother trying?" Others might become perfectionists, absolutely terrified of making a single mistake. Here's the truth: children don't build confidence by being flawless. They build confidence by learning, by failing, and by getting back up and trying again. The shift for this pattern is simple, but incredibly powerful. It's about celebrating the effort, not just the result. It's about treating mistakes as opportunities for learning, not as disappointments. And most importantly, it's about making sure your love is always unconditional, not tied to their performance. So, what's the common thread that runs through all of these patterns? Here is the truth most parents never get to hear: no single parenting style is all bad. Every single one has its strengths. The parent who avoids conflict is often nurturing and gentle. The parent who needs control is often organized and reliable. The people pleaser is deeply loving, and the high achiever is passionate and inspiring. The problem isn't the style itself. The problem is that when stress hits, we slide into the extreme versions of these styles, and our children feel that shift immediately. Kids don't need perfect parents. What they need are aware parents. Parents who are self-aware. When you start to understand your own triggers and your own default patterns, you can stop reacting from a place of fear and start responding with intention. So instead of asking yourself, "How do I make my child behave?" try asking a different question. Ask yourself, "What am I really afraid of in this moment? Am I afraid of discomfort? Am I afraid of losing control? Am I afraid of being disliked by my own child? Or am I afraid of feeling like I've failed as a parent?" That one question can change everything. Because here's the final thought I want to leave you with. Children don't learn who they are from our words. They don't learn from our lectures. They learn from watching how we handle our own stress, our own mistakes, our own conflicts, and how we repair things when they go wrong. When we, as parents, decide to grow, our children don't just start to behave better. They feel safer, they feel stronger, they feel more capable. And that kind of influence is the kind that lasts a lifetime. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.